Yeah, big one.
See that?
What's that?
You know what that is?
That's a Nintendo thumb.
It's a blister.
Pac-Man.
Pac-Man blister.
Drinking beers in the sun, talking about Cuyabeno Nature Reserve. Welcome to the jungle, baby. You're gonna die. Got Sarah on my side. I'm Ryan. Making videos in Ecuador, sharing this beautiful country with you. We're talking hot tips. We're talking...
Frosty tips.
Frost Sarah's tips.
Frost my tips.
We're going to share the experience with you, give you all the details, and I might even do a double backflip off this balcony right here.
Y'all don't know people like this. 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 Y'all don't know people like this.
Welcome to the jungle. We got fun and games. We've got everything you want, like sloths and caimans.
The first question, what is the Cuyabeno Nature Reserve? It's Ecuador's second largest nature reserve at the size of?
604,000 hectares.
Good job. The biggest is Yasuni, and it was an option for us. We thought about going there. A lot of people recommended it. Came down to Yasuni is kind of more of a honeymoon destination. Cuyabeno is more about the wildlife, even though there is more biodiversity in Yasuni, they say. But I think it's harder to see. The rivers are wider, and it's just a little fancier. We weren't really looking for the fancy. We were looking for the jungle, baby. But both parks are in the Amazon jungle, and Cuyabeno is actually really close to the Peruvian and the Colombian border, so it's a ways out. It takes a while to get there. We took a car for 5 hours from Quito. A lot of people take the bus. It takes about 7 hours on the bus, costs like $14, I've heard. We spent $30 each to take a essentially private car. There was one other person in the front seat, so we had the back seat to ourselves. I'm gonna leave information in the description below for if you wanna take this car, I can give you the contact for them. The other option would be the lodge sometimes arranges rides, but they do those overnight. So it's like 20 bucks and it's a share van and you go through the night, you travel there through the night. But we kind of wanted to do it during the day because it is quite beautiful. You go up to Papayacta area, up into the mountains, down the other side, and up in another mountain. At one point you hit the San Rafael area, and that's the largest, it was the largest waterfall in all of Ecuador. And I don't know, you're an environmental science teacher, what's going on in that area?
I think they're building an oil duct, and then that caused landslides or whatever. That's why the waterfall collapsed, because of the pipelines they're building around there, digging into the ground and causing landslides.
And you could see the roads have, like parts of the road had been wiped out, and just a lot of like construction going on there, but also a lot of areas where it looked like the land had come across the road and they kind of detoured the road around. So that 5 hour car ride got us to Lago Agrio, which is the main city, kind of at the edge of the Amazon there. You know, we went out for dinner and stayed the night and then got up in the morning, and then from there you meet up with the tour group and you take a 2 hour bus ride to the entrance of the park. From there you take a 2 hour boat ride deep into the Amazon. So in total that's 9 hours it took us from Quito to there, just travel time. It's a long ways, definitely a long ways. And the way they do it, you have to book your lodge and you choose, was it 3, 4, or 5 day tour? And the lodge basically takes care of everything. All you have to do is get to Lago Agrio. They pay for food, lodge, boat, transportation once you're in Lago Agrio, everything else, equipment. I think there's about 12 lodges in the park, and the prices range from like $230 to $500 for like a 3 day trip. So the difference between those, as far as I can find, it's the same itinerary, it's just the lodge is a little bit nicer. We stayed in probably one of the cheapest ones. It was what is it called?
Guacamayo.
Guacamayo. It was basic, it was quite basic. Why did we choose Guacamayo? Well, we really didn't have much of a choice. A lot of them are closed down for the pandemic. So we contacted a travel agent, I guess, and she basically said, this is what I have. And it worked out. It's probably the cheapest option out of all of them. It cost us $260 each for a 4 day tour. I found it was fine place to stay. We've stayed in jungle places before, and there are snakes in our room or giant geckos and stuff like that. But we didn't have any problems there. Did you see any critters in our room at all, like spiders or anything? Cockroaches, yeah. Yeah, the way they all seem to be set up on these stilts, and there's just pathways you have to follow because they're trying to keep everything off the ground because it floods a lot, I believe. You could swim from the dock there, which is kind of nice. I didn't do it, but some other people did. You could also go up into the bird watching tower, which was definitely something I think was good to have.
Most of the birds that we saw better from the bird watching tower.
Yeah.
Like he'd be like, oh, green and yellow parrot.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, oh, maybe. And then in the bird watching tower, you could see
get a good look at them. You just sit up there in the morning or in the afternoon. I found the best time was around 4:30. We saw a monkey from up there. Mm. And it's just a good spot to hang out, good spot to see birds. And I think birds are kind of the main thing you're going to see in Cuyabeno. Yeah, the bed was comfy, the pillow was shit, but the food, how'd you like the food? Food was good. 3 solid meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner. Lunch and dinner both had dessert usually, just some fruit. It was always just like a good meal, decent meal, simple. Like a pork chop with some sauce or a slice of chicken breast, and there was fish. The fish was really good. One thing that they dropped the ball on, we get there and there's no beer. They didn't have any beer. I mean, it's disorganization is what it is, which is pretty classic for Ecuador. People are on vacation. You're going in the middle of nowhere where you can't buy anything and you don't have beer. But we actually brought our own bottle of rum and some Coke. But they ended up getting beer. They got it from another lodge, I think. So let's talk about our group. Our group was us, the guide, and one other person. Really small group. Not typical, but I guess pandemic typical. And the other person on our group is this German lady.
You're just gonna bitch her out now?
She was like negative and she complained about everything. She was always the opposite. If you said you liked something, she hated it. You said you hated something, she liked it. Wouldn't stop talking. She kept saying how Berlin was better
before the wall came down.
Yeah.
It's amazing how one person on your tour can really change the dynamic. If a bird had the color brown or black on it, she threw a little tantrum saying, "Where are all the colorful birds?"
Yeah.
Now you've got me ranting about her, but you just have to make an effort not to let someone like that ruin.
And it was so hard though.
And guide the culture of the trip, because she was really, at the end of the day, she'd be like, "I'm so bored. There's nothing to see. I can't wait to go home." And I was just like, you know what? F you, lady. I could stay here for 3-4 weeks and not be bored. And she's like, "Really? Well, you'd stay here longer?" Have some appreciation for the nature that's going on around you, even if it's brown. What snobbery? I don't know. And you've got some guy who's super excited to show you the birds that he knows. You know, like the guy was...
Yeah, let's talk about the guide now. Let's move on from her. She's been plaguing our lives.
He's been doing it for 30 years. He's super knowledgeable.
His story is what really captured me. What was the name of the tribe that he taught at? The Warani tribe, which is kind of a famous tribe because there was a story back in I think it was in the 50s, where some missionaries tried to convert them, and they went over there, they tried to make friends with them, and then the Warani ended up slaughtering them, killing like 5 missionaries. I think there's a Hollywood movie about it and a documentary about it. He went and lived with them and taught them Spanish for a while. The oil people tried to move in, and he came to QUITO to talk about the whole situation, and they basically said, "No, there's nothing you can do."
But he went back to the Warani and tried to protect them.
Yeah.
Like I think he tried to act as a middleman.
Yeah.
Because he could speak Spanish and they couldn't.
Yeah.
And I remember he said that at one point, like they came, and he said, "Oh, okay, just don't come in here," which was where the Warani were living. And they pointed guns at him and threatened him. Mm-hmm. And then he basically was like, "All right, I'm out because it's not worth my life."
Yeah, he had a bunch of decent stories. He stepped on a stingray once, which is like the deadliest thing in the jungle. A stingray has killed a bunch of people every year. And he showed us the scar, rolled up his pant leg, showed us the scar, and yeah, he had funny stories about other tourists and stuff. Oh, and he also kind of hated the German lady too.
Oh yeah.
By the end, he got into an argument with her and basically just said, maybe you just don't have the patience and you're not good at spotting animals, because she was complaining about not seeing something and
Just constantly had to have our mouth going. Like, where? What are you looking at? We just went on a walk through the jungle in the dark.
this is what we're talking about next. So that was the first activity we did, really, was go for a night walk in the Amazon.
Hey guys, don't forget, pay attention every moment. Sometimes it's complicated to see.
But we're looking for insects? Or
Yeah, we're looking for anything in the jungle.
my glasses. I cannot leave my bag here. Why did you tell me to leave it there?
We're looking for anything in the jungle, guys. Don't forget, we're looking for spiders, geckos, lizards, scorpions, tarantulas, whatever. Yeah.
But what exactly are we looking for?
Insects.
Which insects?
I mean, we started doing it and I just felt this, like a little bit of adrenaline. It's just like, this is
It's
so
scary.
cool. We're in the Amazon
I was
at
worried
night,
about walking through a
wandering
spider web
around.
or something.
Yeah, and we were looking for tarantulas and stuff. We really didn't see
Any
much.
insect, basically.
Yeah, we saw some small spiders or whatever.
Yeah.
We walked for probably 10, 15 minutes, and of course the German lady starts complaining. She doesn't like it. And so he tried to find a shortcut. The guide tried to do a shortcut to rob us of a lovely walk that we were enjoying. But he got lost, and he basically said, you guys stay here. I'm going to go look. And we didn't know we were lost at that time. And we're standing there, and if you turn off your flashlight, it is pitch black. You
And
can't
he
see
was gone.
anything. Couldn't
He
hear
was
him.
gone.
Yeah, you couldn't see his light. He was a ways out there.
Also, it's, the pandemic, there's not as many people visiting, so a lot of the trails are more overgrown.
Mm-hmm.
So they're literally going through with their machetes, chopping roots through.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't even tell there was a trail for a
No.
little while.
And so he got lost. He took a shortcut and he got lost, and he said, okay, you stay here. I think he went back to rejoin the trail and come back to us via the trail so that he could get us back on the trail.
But he found us again, and then he's like, okay, we go this way. And we start walking that way, and then he's like, wait, no, we go the other way.
Yeah.
And he's total opposite direction.
Yeah.
And you're just in there, thinking, what if we don't find the boat and we have to spend a night in the Amazon in just a bush? That's crazy.
Then the next day, we were kind of with two groups, right? There was a 3-day group and a 4-day group. We went together to go on a hike to look at the medicinal plants in the forest. And then that other group got lost.
Yeah.
He got lost on that trail, and
Yeah.
that was the middle of the day. So
Yeah.
it's not an obvious trail. There is a trail, but then again, because there's less people coming, I suppose that a lot of those, the jungle grows
Yeah,
back really
it grows
quickly.
back, and it floods an area, so parts of the trail are cut off.
Yeah, because we got to a point, and he just kind of stood there looking, and because we'd been lost the night before, I was like, is he lost again? And then he's turned around and he goes, is it okay if we get wet? And we were like, and he's like wet, maybe up to here? That's a lot of wet. That's a lot more wet than I would have expected.
Yes.
Okay, bad boys,
I don't like this
let's do it.
sureness that we're going to fall down.
And I love that part. I loved going through that water.
Yeah.
We're just walking through a swampy
Yeah.
area in the Amazon.
And he's like, step where I step. So I was just you're just kind of putting your
test your
foot in,
ground.
and then sometimes there'd be deep holes.
And of course, Sarah has a pair of wellies, and she's got a hole in one of them. And so the water just rushes into the well, and it's just
That
so
first
bad.
step, I stepped into the water, the first step into the water, and water just came rushing in the boot, and I was like, oh no. My mind is just leeches. I don't know, what's
Who
in that
knows?
water.
Yeah. But that hike, we saw some monkeys. We didn't see much else, but it was more about the plants, medicinal, and building purposes.
Yeah, that was really cool. He made
Yeah.
a bracelet for me. Everything comes back to this German.
We can't just complain about this German lady.
But she had a plastic bag. She brought a plastic
Yeah.
bag with her to carry
Her
her
all
things to the
backpacks
jungle.
on. She's got his
She's like, I have a
plastic
super
bag.
maxi plastic bag. She's like, I'm supposed to bring my poncho. He's like, yeah, bring your poncho. And then she just had it on her arm, and he was like, okay, give it to me. And then he wrapped it up. But it was kind of cool because he wrapped it
Yeah.
up with this vine.
He made a
And then
handle.
made a handle and wove a handle.
Yeah.
Just right there in the jungle. And tossed it on his back.
He
I
was
thought
showing
that was
off.
really cool.
Yeah. The whole lack of wildlife, I guess, is a thing. It's a thing that the German lady had a problem with. So I kind of want to talk about that a little bit. It's not a place you go and you just see animals constantly. You know, it's the Amazon. It's the wild. The animals aren't used to humans. They're not there to be on display for you. They're trying to get away from you for the most part. So you need to bring binoculars 100%, I would say, because
Yeah.
the best views we had were through the binoculars, and the difference between just looking at it from a long distance away and looking at it in the
Yeah.
binoculars, you see details and colors and all this. But to me, it was really more of like a relaxing place that, yeah, we got to see a river dolphin or a sea otter, or, you know, you treat yourself to these animals every once in a while if you were quiet and you were still and you were patient.
You didn't have a German lady yelling next to you. You know, if you don't have the ability to sit quietly and be with yourself, then nature watching isn't for you. And
You
that's
go to
the
a zoo
biggest
instead.
problem. You know, there's different animals that you'll see in the rainy season compared to what you'll see in the dry season.
That's
like we saw
a big part of it.
dolphins swimming up the river. You're not going to see that in the summer.
Yeah, the summer the water levels are lower, and you see a lot. I think you see more animals, tapirs. They said
You can see the stingrays.
giant snakes.
The anacondas you can see.
Yeah, they were naming a few animals,
Yeah.
which, you know, go at that time of year. I think if you're looking to see more animals.
I think maybe we need to move, didn't we?
Yeah, it's about to rain hard, but the time of if you do go that time of year though, it's going to be a little harder to get up and around the river because the water levels are lower. There's more obstacles, stuff like that. The majority of the time, I think the activity that we did most is probably boating around and looking for wildlife. Boating around, slowly looking. There's something. Stop the boat. Look at it. Observe it.
But you forgot the best part.
What? Well, we're getting into that. We're getting into that. We're
Okay,
getting into
okay.
that. Binoculars again. I'm going to stress binoculars really helps a lot. Camera-wise, you're not going to see great shots of animals in this video. It's just really hard unless you have a long lens, and I don't have a long lens anymore. I broke my long lens, so I recommend if that's what you're looking for, bring a long lens and definitely bring binoculars. The best day was the paddling day.
Yeah.
That's what this was, right? You weren't chimney sweeping. We got towed out kind of far from the lodge and dropped off and just canoed, 3 or 4 of us and 5 of us because there was another person that joined the group at that time. Canoeing back little narrow streams, like sometimes there was like this narrow. There were points where there were logs, and you have to go like fast. We got to get over this log.
Yeah, it
and
was
just, like,
fun.
ramp over it or whatever. And we went into this little lagoon area, like a lake, I guess. And he said it was primary forest, like really old area. And we got in there and we're creeping around, looking, and he's listening. And there was a lot of like listening, and him going, "There's something over there. There's a whatever
Yeah.
over there." He understands all the calls, and
Yeah, he was
it's
really good
really
at that.
easy for us to even ignore the calls and not hear them,
Yeah.
or just think they're a bird.
And then he would repeat the call, and then you'd hear it. That was so great. I
Yeah.
loved that.
Yeah,
he
it's
would
really
go, and then he'd say what it was sometimes,
Mhm.
and then he'd go. And then you'd be like, "Oh yeah, I hear
Yeah,
it."
you hear
I hear
it.
it. Like you wouldn't hear it until he
Yeah.
picked it up and said it back to you, and then it's just like to have that kind of ear
Mhm.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's 30 years of experience in the jungle.
Exactly, recognizing those
Yeah.
sounds. In that lake area, we're paddling along, and we see these little heads in the distance going along, and she's like, "There's something over there." And I saw it, and Sarah saw it, and the guy didn't see it yet, and he's like, "Oh, all right, let's go over there."
He said caiman.
Yeah, he thought it was caiman.
Yeah.
Caiman, like crocodiles or alligators, caiman.
And I knew by the shape of the head. I was
Yeah.
like, turtle? Because the shape of the head seemed quite round, but it was swimming way too fast to be a turtle. I was like, it looks like a turtle head, but it's way too fast. And then he said, "Oh, maybe otter."
And then they called.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Definitely otter."
Yeah.
And he was doing a call back, and we were kind of looking for them, but they scooted out of there pretty quick.
Yeah.
It wasn't the time of year to see otters. That's why he was so surprised by
Yeah.
it, because the water levels are higher and usually come out when the water levels are lower. But we're sitting there in the boat, and then otter pops up. You saw it, and like I don't.
Right
think anybody
ahead
else
of the
saw it.
boat and by the reeds, and he popped his head up and he looked like literally right at us and saw us, and we're like, boom, back down. Like,
Yeah.
was so surprised.
Giant otters, really,
So cool.
really cool.
That was a cool lake because it's like that picture you see of the flooded forest,
Yeah.
that classic picture with the trees kind of coming up out of the water. Just absolutely amazing scenery.
Yeah.
Just completely astounding.
It's a
Yeah.
piranha. Be careful with this big.
Wow.
Hold on a sec.
It's very sharp one.
Can I
Yeah, I coming.
closer?
Like, yeah, come. Pay attention, guys. Pay attention. 1, 2, 3. Look. By accident, you touch the piranha teeth. Look what's gonna happen later.
Jesus. He's an angry feller.
I don't blame him.
Just chowing down on stick there.
But it can really live a long time without water.
1 hour outside the water.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's the more famous and aggressive fish in the Amazon rivers.
Oh.
24 kinds of the piranhas usually you will recognize in the Amazonas River, but the red-bellied piranha are the more aggressive one. This is the silver piranha, nothing. It's a good one. It's like a vegetarian piranha.
Yeah.
But of course, but in general sense, all the piranhas like the meat. These ones survive well with the fruits around this area.
Yeah. Okay.
And they only bite oil workers.
Yeah. Fuck. Sorry, my friend. Almost make a mistake.
So after visiting that lake, we paddled back, and then there were some monkeys in the tree. We heard them, and we saw them, and he was like, let's go around the corner. And we're like, paddle hard, go around the corner.
He knew where they were going.
Yeah, he knew like there was one area where the trees were close, and they were gonna try to get across at that area. So we just sat there and just watched the monkeys for like a good 20 minutes or so, and they were feeding right there in the trees.
One guy peed
so
on
cool.
us.
Yeah, one guy was peeing.
One little guy came out on the branch. He took his little wiener and he went. He like peed down on us. It didn't hit us, but it was still funny.
Yeah, it was hilarious. Yeah, they were
Squirrel monkeys, I mean.
They weren't squirrel monkeys. No, they were
Woolly monkeys, yeah.
monkeys.
The
Big,
woolly
bushy-
monkeys are just like, you just want to
Yeah.
like hug them.
Yeah,
They look
absolutely.
like they're wearing snowsuits.
Yeah, and he said they're really skinny.
Yeah.
They're just a lot of fur.
Why do they have so much fur in the jungle?
Yeah, I don't know. Protection from bugs.
Bugs, yeah.
Yeah, that was neat. Watching them use their tails, and you'd like look, and you'd be like,
Yeah.
are they holding onto the branch with their arm or
5
their
legs.
tail? And then
Or yeah, he
See,
said
it's a
they
tail.
say 5 arms.
yeah,
Because I was looking through the binoculars and I saw the one guy and he had his prehensile tail wrapped around the branch, and then he had his unelegantly 2 legs akimbo
yeah.
on the like rear hind legs on either branch like that, and he was just kind of like bending down like an acrobat,
Yeah.
like for the fruit, and then just balls.
Balls. Big old monkey balls.
They're so you could watch them for hours though,
Mhm.
and they're like looking down at you, and it's just like
Yeah, they look.
there's
at you.
that interspecies thing where it's just like they're so close to us
Yeah.
that
They-
it's
they
something
recognize
weird
it.
about watching them.
Yeah.
And the way they watch you back is a little bit like, I don't know, there's just something to it, right? Like monkeys.
Can you make eye contact, and there's a connection there.
Yeah. Are you getting more beer?
No, you can get more beer. I gotta get an extension cord. What next I want to talk about.
When that caiman came into the village and then killed all those people.
I don't
Ate the
think people
babies.
want to hear about that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, the last thing I got to talk about before we do some hot tips. Swimming in the lake. There's a big lake there, and it's the best spot to swim ever. Jumping off the boat into the lake, beautiful water, both. Sun setting. I really loved it. The environment made it so special.
Yeah, fresh water,
Mm-hmm.
big lake, beautiful views, jumping off a boat into the Amazon waters, like,
Yeah,
that's really cool.
yeah.
And the water is like, it looks brown, but it's tannins.
Mm-hmm. It's like a bronze.
Yeah.
It makes your skin look bronze when you're in it. We did that a couple times. I think we went for 3 swims the whole time we were there. And that's about it. I think I forgot to mention we cruised around looking for caimans. And we saw a few, but you can really only see their eyes because they shine the light on them. You can see their eyes, they glow like fire. And I mean, I could see its like black figure kind of go back down into the
We
water.
saw a baby one
Yeah.
at the dock of one of the places when we were delivering beer, actually, to that.
Is that why we were there to
Yeah,
deliver beer?
yeah.
I didn't even realize that. Hot tips? Do hot tips? Hot tips. Hot tips.
Hot tips.
Hot tips. What do you got?
When you choose your welly,
Yep.
do a water test.
Water test the wellies. Don't want a hole in the
Just
welly.
put them on. Here's the tip. They'll be like, go get your wellies for tomorrow. Go get your wellies for tomorrow. Find 2. Try them on. Walk down to the dock. Plonk your feet in the water. Right?
Ugh, God, get your f***ing giant feet out of my
You know,
face.
People take their wellies off.
I did that.
Put
I
the-
tested mine.
Did you?
Yeah.
And you didn't say you should test your wellies?
No.
Okay.
Good tip.
Frosted tip.
Frosted tip. Time of year matters. Hot tip. Hot tips. Time of year.
I don't think so.
Well, you're going to see different things. So go
Well, it
twice.
depends what you want to see.
Yeah. Bring Knox. I've mentioned that a few times. I'm going to stress that again. Binoculars.
Even if they're
the
just a
binocs.
cheap pair.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely helps. Definitely. Like, for example, in the bird tower, we're hearing, because you hear the macaws, because they go, bah, 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 and they kind of fly weird, and they're always flying overhead, and it's like, oh, there's some macaws, but it's like very shadow, backlit. But Sarah had the binocs, and most of the time we saw the green ones,
Yeah.
but she saw the red
I
ones,
saw
that
the
classic,
red one.
yeah, which
That
is
was
a good
great
spot. Good
That
spot.
was a
Great spot. Great spot. Great spot. And I would suggest also, hot tip, do a little bit of research ahead of time. There's lots of
Yes.
websites where you can listen to the
eBird.
sounds of the bird. eBird.com?
eBird.
eBird.com. And you can look up the birds that are in the area, look them up on eBird, and listen to their sounds, look at a picture of them.
I think it gives you a much greater appreciation.
Gets
when
you, you're more excited when you see
Yeah.
it.
I don't know. Educate yourself, people. Educate yourself.
Another frosted tip. Frosted tips. Patience. Be patient. Don't expect to see things like crazy. Just enjoy it. Sit back,
Yeah.
relax. And a good example of that is we're sitting up the dock, like on the river, had 2 levels. There's like the level you walk onto the boat on, and then there's a level above it so you can get a nicer, higher view. And we're just sitting there, just talking a little bit, whispering, kind of looking out and watching, looking for birds and stuff. And then all of a sudden, some river dolphins, they're pink river dolphins. They just whoosh. We could see the whole
Body.
dolphin profile that come up from the water, and they have these big long snouts on them. Really beautiful.
We got really lucky.
Yeah, but it wasn't just luck. It was also like we had the patience.
But yeah,
And we were
that's what it
quiet.
is. It's like appreciate the place where you're staying. And,
Yeah.
You know, if you can, get up at 6 in the morning, go up to the bird tower, and stay there for an hour. Yeah,
Yeah.
It sucks to like stand for an hour, but like.
Doesn't suck, but
no,
it was awesome.
It doesn't to me, but I
Yeah.
get it. I get
Yeah.
people who aren't interested.
Yeah.
But just like immerse yourself in it a little bit.
And like, you know, a lot of people go in big groups, and there's younger people, and they want to, you know, have a good time and socialize and stuff, which is great. Socialize or whatever, but also remember, if you're quiet, there's a better chance you're going
Yeah.
to see something if you're quiet and you
That's
pay
the thing.
attention.
Yeah.
So that's just another frosted tip for you.
Frosted tips.
We got lots of them. Bug spray, definitely. The bugs, didn't get bit when we had bug spray on it. It would last maybe
Yeah.
4 hours or something.
I only
Definitely.
think I applied it twice a day.
Yeah,
In the morning when we would go out, and then in the afternoon when we
when we
would
got
go out.
back, or yeah. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention that usually the trip involves going to see an indigenous tribe, but we couldn't do that because of COVID. Well, the German lady was like, I think it's because they don't want us there and they're making up this excuse. And the guide was like, actually, it's the opposite of that. They would like to have us there because they make money off of it. But the government, he didn't say the government, but he said, but it's the opposite of that. So I
Yeah.
think the government is saying, no, we don't think it's a good idea. Wrap it up. You got any more hot tips?
Wrap it up, rivet in. Let me begin. Wear your welly boots without hole in.
Iguana IPAs.
Frost up your
Now
tips.
let's just give a shout out to the Camino del Sol Iguana IPA, helping videos get more entertaining. Okay, there's even a picture of you on it.
Yeah.
So that was pretty much it. We headed home the next day, 2-hour boat ride back to the park entrance. At the park entrance, there were actually buses going from there all the way to QUITO. If you don't have a plan, you can probably jump on one of those. The ones there were empty, they had space, so you could probably do that. I don't know how much they cost or whatever, but that's something you could consider. We took the bus that was provided by the lodge back to Lago Agrio, stayed a night there, then went back the next day. Okay, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. I gotta cut Sarah off. There's a weird balance there. Like I got maybe like 1 iguana IPA, maybe 2 is too much. Obviously we went over and she talked too much. I apologize for that. And then, what?
People aren't gonna like that.
Why? Woman.
Woman.
Okay. Smash the like.
Smash the like, hit the
Thumbs
bell
up.
icon to get reminded every time he posts a new video. And then you can even comment underneath. And then sometimes I read through those comments. And if you write something about me that's nice, I like it.
Really?
Yeah.
Just when
Just when it's about
Okay,
me.
so-
But only if it's nice.
comment about Sarah, something nice in the comments below, and you'll get a free like from her.
Prefer when I'm by myself. I don't wanna hang around y'all. Pray for good health. One day I'm gonna go all. Fuck around and buy the whole mall. Breaking that cake. Flexing 700 in the bank. Not a superhero, I don't save. Look at my face. Look at my grades. Don't match up, no love. Look at